beautiful people, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchi Iman. On this channel I teach you how to grow your cake business from 0 to 100. I share tips and strategies on how you can grow your cake business. I'm an international award-winning cake artist that is based in Manchester, United Kingdom, and you're welcome to my channel. Just in case you're stopping by for the first time, it's my delight to have you here, and if you've always been here, thank you so much for your support. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a continuation. It's a two-part series of questions that you've asked me that I feel that are very important that I need to talk about. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Welcome back. Now I'm going to be looking at the first question which I have here today, and if you've not watched the first part of this video, I will encourage you to do that and watch the video. Now Perpetual has asked, how can I strategize for sales to make profits? And secondly, how well does baking from home help? Is getting a shop going to be more better? Now, I would say for a profitable sales strategy, what you want to do is to calculate your costs. If you can calculate your costs, then you're well on your way to understanding how to make profits in your cakes or with your cakes. You don't want to leave out any costs, because if you leave out any costs, that you're definitely going to have a leakage. So make sure that you know all the costs that are involved, your direct costs, indirect costs, your overhead. Put everything into consideration, including your labor. Now, this is very important for me because I feel that most people do not charge for their labor, or they do not charge for everything, or they do not know what constitutes their labor, and so they leave things out. If you're leaving anything out, that means you're leaving money out, you're leaving money on the table. So you want to calculate your labor and add to your cost. It's a very integral part of cake pricing, which I feel you should not leave out. I have a video on this. Please do well to check that video out. I'm going to link it for you so you can check. The next thing I would say is that you should have a good profit margin. Have a good profit margin. Some people refer to it as markup. I am not in a position to really advise and say this is what you should use, because I do not want you to use something that will be too high at the end of the day. I would inflate your prices so much that people would run away. Okay, so we need to apply wisdom here. Look for a good balance in your profit margin that you can use. Now, when I started out, what I was using was 30% on my cakes. Like when I'm done calculating the cost of everything, then I will put a 30% profit margin. But at the end of the day, that wasn't sustainable, and it would not just help me with my business, especially if I'm looking to grow, especially if I'm looking to be able to take care of my business costs. So I would advise that you should get a reasonable, profitable margin or markup that you can add to your cakes. So the second part of the question, baking from home is nothing bad at all. Now, having a store is a beautiful level of growth, but then baking from home doesn't make you any less better. And you know that having a store comes with more responsibilities. Before you get a store, you want to consider, do I have the capacity for that? Am I getting enough, requests or cake orders that would make me want to get more space, get more hands that can help with this work? There are a couple of things that you need to consider that I believe I touched in a video of getting a cake shop. Okay, so please do well to check that video out as well. Now you can start from home. We all started from home, and I know some fantastic cake bakers, some bakers who started from home, that if they did not come online, or if they did not make mention of that, you wouldn't have been able to suspect that these people were baking from home, yet they were smashing it in their cake business. So you could see that they were doing well in their cake businesses. So please be comfortable with working from home. You can work in your kitchen, you can have a dedicated space in your room or in a part of the house, or behind, to the side, to the back, depending on how your house is, and use it. I know my boss started from home before she moved into a duplex and everything. She started working from home by the side of her house, and she decorated it so beautifully well that you would never know that it was just a fence. It was the space between the house and the fence. With respect to you, Lizzie, that was where she was using. And by the time I got there, when I got there to see her for the first time, I was like, is this where you're working from? And she was like, yes. You would never know, because she did it so well. And it was so nice. It was a wallpaper. Yeah, I think it was a wallpaper. So you can decorate your space nicely and work from home until you feel that you're capable enough to move, and until the need arises for you to move. That is what I would advise you. So weigh all these things together and decide whether you want to get a shop or not. Now I have another question here. I want to start selling a new product, Cake Parfait, in my school, university. I also know the target audience that will buy my products. I don't know if I should just show my product for sales, or like inform them when the product will be made available for sales? What's the best approach? Thank you for your question. So what I would say is this: before you start the sales, start creating that awareness. It's called creating awareness, whether brand awareness or product awareness. It's just informing them, I'm going to be selling this. These will be available from this time. I'm looking to launch a new product. You can even do some samples, okay? Make some few samples, give to them. Oh, this product I'll be launching very soon. Just basically start creating that awareness. Don't pull a surprise on them. Oh, I have this. I believe that if you create that awareness, you do it with wisdom, you do it with skill, and you're creative about it, you have a strong copy, people will be anticipating, they'll be wanting to know, oh, when are we going to get this product, when is it going to be ready? So while you're preparing, setting the groundwork, doing everything, start creating awareness. That's where the part of marketing and advertising comes in, and there is much more power in this. Word of mouth, social media, your WhatsApp status. If you're allowed to put flyers, in my uni we used to have a board for flyers where you can put things, you can, I think people used to put their business flyers on it then. So if this is something that you have in your uni, you can put it there, put it in strategic places around campus, in your hostel. Tell people, tell your friends to help tell you to help tell their friends to keep passing on that word, and then showcase it. If you have a band, a wrist, a cap, a face cap, or a cloth that you can wear, something that would let them know, oh, this is coming out, I'm having this, launching this product, or launching Cake Parfait, launching so and so date. Wear it so that you start creating the awareness and you increase anticipation, so that people are waiting and actually would jump on that product. Make sure that it's good, so that when they buy, you're able to keep the flow. The next question is this. Tina says, how do I charge for cakes? I have a video on how to charge for your cakes. Tina, you can do well to check that video out, but I'll basically say, know the unit cost. I think I've mentioned this in passing. Know your unit cost. Incorporate all costs, all of them. Please do not leave anything out. Your direct or indirect cost, your overhead, labor, markup, anything that you feel needs to be added, the cost for your cake classes, your payment, salary payment for yourself and your staff. Incorporate all these things into your cake pricing. Please do well to check that video. You will get better explanation from it, okay? Thank you, Tina. The next question is from Adiola. She says, good evening, ma. Please, if someone has a wedding cake and engagement cake, when can I start the baking, and how can I preserve it if I don't have freezer before decorating it? Now, I have made a video, thankfully, that deals with this. I have two videos. One I will recommend is my wedding cakes video, and the second one is how early should I bake my cake. So it talks about your baking timeline, but I'm going to just give you some few pointers here, but I would advise that you watch those videos. The first thing you can do is, for me, what I do is this. Let me just advise based on my personal experience or what I do. If I have a wedding cake, I bake a week ahead, and that's what I shared in that video. So I bake a week ahead, and when it cools, I do the necessary things that I have to do, such as drizzling alcohol on it to keep it, and then allowing it to cool down first, and then wrapping it up and leaving it at room temperature. I just basically leave it in my studio, in my office, depending on the number of cakes that I have. I do not freeze them. There's no need freezing them, because my fruit cakes do not go bad. Like, they're well baked. It's a good, fantastic recipe, and they do not go bad. I have a fruit cake recipe on my channel as well. You can check that out. So no need, I do not freeze them. They are fruit cakes, I do not freeze them, except maybe you're making vanilla flavor, red velvet, and all those other flavors, then you can think of freezing them. But I would advise, since you do not have a freezer, please play safe and go for fruit cakes. So I bake a week ahead. Now you can also check the baking timeline video. So we've talked about preservation. I've answered you basically on how I preserve. I just leave them at room temperature, but I make sure that they are properly cooled and cold. They've come to room temperature before I wrap them up. So I wrap them up in cling film and just place them somewhere cool. I leave them in my office where it's cool. I remember I used to leave my AC on sometimes, so that the environment is just cool and there's no heat, because it's really hot in Nigeria. It's hot back home. So I leave the AC on and allow it just cool, so that my office remains cool, and then I start baking, or I have a timeline that I work with. Please do well to check that video. I believe you understand better. So this is what I would do. I bake a week ahead. There's no need for me to put it in the freezer to preserve it. I just leave it at room temperature. Abioye Zion says, my chocolate cake is always tasting bitter. Sort of. what do I do? So I just made a short recently talking about this. Please do well to check it out. What I advised my other subscriber that asked this question is that you can try another brand of cocoa powder, try substituting your chocolate flavor with vanilla, and also make sure that your sugar is balanced. There's enough sugar to cover for the bitter taste of the cocoa powder, because naturally cocoa powder is bitter, it is acidic, and it is bitter. It has not been processed like chocolate, and so it is not sweet. So you need to have a good balance of your sugar so that it tastes good, it tastes nice. Now this other question says, how can meat pie last longer than a day? And while I'm not in the pastry business, I don't do pastries, so I would say I'm just answering based on general knowledge. I don't know if it can stay more than a day. I think the experts will be able to help. If we have pastry experts in the house, please help and let her know. I would say highest is maybe 2 days based on general knowledge, because of course the fillings you use inside, particularly because of the fillings, you don't want to keep it for too long. So people make use of chillers. They have them in their chillers so that it remains cold, and I do not know the process from there, so let me not say too much. I know somebody also asked a question under this very question about small chops as well. Please, if you're a small chops expert, a pastries expert, for those of you who don't know what small chops are, I'm going to insert a picture on the screen. Is a kind of pastry combined treats that we use for occasions back home in Nigeria. I don't know if they have it in other countries, but we have what we call small chops. You have samosa in it, you have spring rolls, you have is it gizzdodo? No, gizzdodo. You have fried chicken, you have pop in it. There's this thing I'm trying to remember. There's this thing you make with plantain as well. We have all of them put together. So that is what small chops looks like. So I would not take it for too long. For small chops, I know that some of them, the chicken can go bad the same day depending on when it was prepared. So you might be eating, sometimes I've had occasions where I've had to eat and it's already tasting off. So some of these things cannot stay longer than a day. That's why I would advise finally that prepare just the quantity you need. If you're supplying a shop or you're selling to your customers, know what amount you are making per day so that you don't make over, especially if you don't have means of preserving it. And if you're the kind of person that wants to make your products fresh to the taste, make sure that you're working with a particular recipe or a particular quantity. Let your customers know we have 10 slots today. Book your order for your meat pies or for your small chops packs. We have 50 slots, we have 20 slots, and be letting them know we have 3 legs so that people can book, and you know that you're baking or making a certain quantity which would make you not run into waste at the end of the day. I believe that you've gained from this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched up to this point, you're the real MVP. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Please drop a kind comment. If you have questions, also drop them in the comments and I will clarify. Until I see you in my next video, stay happy, stay safe, and stay blessed.